So we have our next person who said, "Hi, Choma. I grew up in a household with a lot of conflict and instability. As an adult, I feel like I've done pretty well for myself. I have a good job, I'm independent, and on paper, things look good. But I've noticed that in certain situations, like when someone criticizes me at work or when there's conflict in a relationship, I react really strongly emotionally. Sometimes my reaction feels bigger than the situation itself, and afterwards I feel confused about why it hit me so hard. I'm starting to wonder if things from my childhood are still affecting me in ways I didn't realize. How do you know when past trauma is still showing up in your everyday reactions?"
I think first of all, if you are having those types of reactions, then you already know that
Mm,
your past traumas are invasive. They are popping up when you don't want them around anymore. But the word trauma is very loaded, and we assume based on like the diagnostic criteria that trauma means that it had to be a life or death situation.
mm,
And we kind of know that it's more complicated than that, and so I call them uppercase T and lowercase T traumas. So it sounds like uh, this person's upbringing, they had a lot of lowercase T traumas that
mm,
piled up on them throughout life, and so it might not be like one big thing that's bothering you, but probably something nagging in the background, like one of those little lowercase T traumas. So
mm,
you know when your stuff is coming back up.
mm. How would you help a client who needs help trusting themselves, for example, in the context of the situation as it relates to those small T traumas and identifying them?
As they say, the body keeps the score.
Okay,
Or
that's
was
a
it
good
just a
one.
reaction?
Mm.
Right. Have we been invalidated before? You ever feel like that?
Mm.
Yeah.
So we have a very final learning curve scenario. This person says, "Hi, Choma. I recently started my own private practice and I'm really proud of taking the leap, but I've been struggling with something I didn't expect. Sometimes clients reach out late at night or during the weekend when they're going through a difficult moment, and I feel a lot of pressure to respond right away. Part of me wants to be there for them because they're trusting me with really heavy things, but another part of me knows I need boundaries to protect my own time and energy. The problem is, when I think about setting those boundaries, I start doubting myself and wondering if I'm being a bad therapist or not doing enough. How can therapists build healthy boundaries with clients while still feeling confident in the care that they're providing?"
That is a fantastic question. I too struggle with this.
I feel like every therapist struggles with
Oh my
this to some
goodness.
degree.
This happened recently where
Mm,
I was put in a situation where I felt really obligated to respond in my personal time, and
mm,
a choice needed to be made of, am I going to perpetuate this idea of me being on call always
mm,
and create that expectation in our therapeutic work that every hour of the day I am available to you? Or does this bond in our relationship include boundaries that allow both of us to take some time away from each other? So I had to really ask myself all of those questions and be like, now, Lauren, are you going to respond to this message right now, or are you going to make them wait
mm,
you know, over the weekend or on the holiday until the next available working hour to get that response from me? And I did,
mhm,
and it was scary.
mm,
And you talk about like those feelings that come back of like, I'm not a good therapist. Like, where is that baggage coming from, right? Like, where
mm,
who said that to me?
mm,
Little voice in our heads. Yeah.
mm. I love that. It seems like there's a lot of like almost like interrogating your thoughts and questioning like where is this coming from? Setting boundaries is something that a lot of, people in helping professions and therapists really experience, and it can be really difficult and it can be really tricky. I've also done been in similar situations as well.
Mhm.
And typically I wait till the next day or after the weekend to respond.
Yeah.
In grad school, one of my professors, she mentioned like when she works in the office, what she would do is like when she would come back home, like before she steps home, like she would take off her earrings, and that was her way of indicating I'm no longer in therapist mode. I'm a human being living my everyday life
Yep.
mode. I'm no longer like in a helping
Yeah.
profession mode. So I think maybe having those little indicators for yourself, whatever that is, of once I step into the space, this is what divides my work life versus my personal life. Because, as a therapist, we have a lot of personal conversations with people. Like that's literally our work is
Yes.
intimate conversations. So sometimes it can kind of really blur the line and you can like think about your clients and non-work hours and like being worried and all of those things. And I think having that physical indicator, whatever that is for you, can also be helpful of the earring is not on. So we're not in work mode right
Right.
now.